Okay, next group of candidates for debate tonight are the ones for the 11th Congressional District. On stage we have Congressman Phil Gingrey. Next to him we have Mr. William Lopp. And next to Mr. Lopp we have Mr. Michael Opitz. And gentlemen, as I shared with the other ones, you will get 2 minutes each for opening comments, and then we will begin with a round of questions. Beginning with Congressman Gingrey.
Melvin, thank you very much. Obviously, we've still got a problem. Want to try it again? Well, thank you very much. First of all, let me thank the Bartow County Republican Party for having this forum, not only for we congressional candidates for the 11th Congressional District, for all the other races as well. I think this is hugely important. I'm very pleased that I was able to get back from Washington late this afternoon and actually be here and to hear the candidates at the local and state level. And obviously, most important for me tonight is the congressional race, and I think most of you know me as Congressman Phil Gingrey, Dr. Phil Gingrey, or maybe just plain Phil would be fine. I have represented this congressional district now for almost 10 years. I'm in my 5th term. I think you remember when the first district was drawn, the funny-looking map, and we had 17 counties that went all the way down to Columbus, Georgia. Then we had 9 counties, and now indeed in this new congressional district, 4. But most importantly, among the 4 is still Bartow County. Billy and I have been married 42 years. We have 4 grown children. We have soon to be 13 grandchildren. I started in public service as a member and chairman of the Marietta City School Board for 4 years, and then served in the General Assembly of the state of Georgia, the state senate for 4 years. I am very, very proud to represent this district and this county in Congress, and to be among the 15 men, and maybe one of these days soon women, that represent this great state of Georgia in the Congress of the United States. I look forward to talking with you this evening, having just an open mic kind of discussion and answering your questions. And of course I will ask you at the end as well, but I want you to give me the opportunity to continue to serve you. If you have not already voted for me in the early or the absentee balloting, please do vote for me, Phil Gingrey, for his 6th term on July the 31st. And I thank you so much for your attendance.
Mr. Lopp.
Yes, thank you, Bartow County. My name is William Lopp, and I am a certified public accountant. Back when I graduated from college nearly 30 years ago, 1/3 of the population was wealthy, 1/3 of the population was considered middle class, and 1/3 wasn't. Fast forward to 2012, 1% is wealthy, 47% are paying no income tax, and the 52% remaining are hanging on for our economic lives. I am a CPA and I understand numbers. It is time that we send someone to Washington who understands math. I have heard you and your neighbor tell me story after story of how uncertain you are about your economic future, about your retirement dollars, about your children's education, and the fact is, I could no longer sit idly by. Washington is broken. There is too much taxation, litigation, and regulation. We are paying too much for fairness. The compliance work required in the pursuit of fairness is strangling innovation. There are many issues that I feel passionate about. I want to talk to you tonight about 3. Streamlining taxes, term limits, and education. With the streamlining of taxes comes investment and jobs. I have a very simple solution that can be put into play today. When you invest your money now, you get a deduction now, then we have immediate job growth now. It really can be that simple. On the corporate side, we used to be #1 in innovation. Now we're #1 in corporate income tax at 39%.
15 seconds, sir.
Yes, thank you. We need to get rid of favoritism in Washington. We can get rid of favoritism through term limits and bring fresh ideas into Washington. Readying our youth for the 21st century is where we need to go with our youth. My name is William Lobb, and I'm the best choice for the 11th District. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Opitz?
Thank you, Melvin. I want to thank the Bartow GOP for hosting this debate. So you get to know us and our policies, and so you can make the very best decision. My name is Michael Opitz. I'm a veteran. I'm a constitutional conservative, and I am running for Congress in the 11th District. It's important to understand what drives America's economy. Manufacturing jobs have been sent by our Congress through creating laws that have been very, very cumbersome for manufacturing to comply with. So we've sent these manufacturing jobs to China and third world countries, and it is my intent to bring back those manufacturing jobs to the 11th District and to America before we become a third world country. I'm retired from Lucent Technologies and AT&T. I served in AT&T Manufacturing Systems, taking technology from Bell Laboratories and commercializing it for manufacturing and distribution. Manufacturing is the heartbeat of America. It is our economy. It is our social, financial stability. It is the thing that has made America great. It's important to understand that for every core manufacturing job, 8 additional good-paying blue-collar, white-collar jobs are also created. Without those jobs, we have a shrinking middle class, and we eventually become a third-world economy. When I go to Washington, I'm going to help those people up there understand what they have done to deindustrialize our country by sending those jobs overseas, intentionally and unintentionally. There are going to be people out on both sides of the aisle who are not going to like me, but I don't care because I'm going to be working for the citizens of the 11th District. And the people up there aren't going to buy me off, they're not going to co-opt me, and they're not going to shut me up. I'm proud to say that former Congressman Larry McDonald's son, Trigby McDonald, has endorsed my candidacy. So if you loved Larry McDonald and what Larry McDonald stood for, you're going to like me.
15 seconds, sir.
So I ask for your support. I ask for your involvement in my campaign because you know our country is in desperate states and we have to turn it around. And I will be your loud voice standing up for you in Congress. My name is Michael Opitz. Go to my website, opitzforcongress.org, and become part of my team. Thank you.
Thank you. We asked
about the rules, but I just wanted to point out that little Larry McDonald and Kathy McDonald, his widow, both support me.
Thank you, Congressman. Well, the rules are, when we start the round of questions, you get 90 seconds to respond to the question, and if any one of you feel like you need to rebut something that was said, we give you an additional 30 seconds. Okay, the first question is, ladies and gentlemen, sit back because there's a lot going on the national scene up there. The current House, as a collective body, seems unwilling to take the current president to task over his appointment of numerous czars who have been given executive largesse. What will you promise us that you would do to take away this abuse of the executive branch? Starting with Congressman Gingrich.
Well, we all know that's exactly right. This president has appointed more czars than any president, I think, in history. Certainly far more than George W. Bush. And the thing about these so-called czars, these experts, whatever agency they happen to be assigned to, they're not cabinet members. On average, though, they make $80,000 to $100,000 a year. They drive a limousine, they have an expense account, and they basically wreak havoc. And these are people that do not have to be approved under advice and consent by the United States Senate, like a cabinet member would have to be. This president has abused that privilege. Other presidents have used it, and there have been czars in other administrations. Maybe we didn't call them czars, but essentially the same thing. Look, quite honestly, the way to solve this problem is the way we're going to try to solve the problem with Obamacare. We voted just this week, once again, to repeal Obamacare. We know what will happen, of course, in the United States Senate under Harry Reid. But ultimately, the solution to the problem with Obamacare and the solution to the problem of abusing that privilege of appointing all these czars is to repeal Obama.
Mr. Locke?
Yes, thank you. The appointment of czars, for those of you who aren't completely sure what that is, the Senate is the group that puts these people into play. The president is taking these breaks from when the Congress takes a break. They put these people, the president then assigns them, and then they are now the person in charge. President Bush actually did assign 38 people over his presidency. Obama has assigned 33 life to date. He's certainly on track to surpass that. But really, the president is going beyond his powers to assign these czars, and certainly he should stop that. And I don't believe the current Congress is doing enough to stop him from doing that. And I believe when I go to Washington, I will be able to straighten that group out. Thank you.
Yes.
We all know that President Obama almost every day steps on the Constitution and strengthens his control over our country, while Congress remains silent. We do not hear any voices from the Congress standing up for the Constitution and presidential and executive abuse as we watch this president lead our country down a deeper and darker path than we have ever seen in our nation's history. Congress has a 10% approval rating. Nobody is surprised at that, because their voices are quiet, their voices are timid, and in some cases, we think that they're even supportive. But we need somebody in Congress who's going to stand up for you and tell you what's really going on in Congress, and hopefully be a spark up there to stimulate the kind of conversations and change in directions that we need. And without that, it's not going to happen. I will be that voice. I will stand in the well of the House, and I will tell you what truly is going on. And when I come back for my town hall meetings, it's just not going to be an apple pie. We're going to talk about serious problems, and I ask for your participation in those town hall meetings as we solve serious problems. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Stay right there. The next round of questions is going to start with you, sir. And the question is, do you really think that Mr. Romney will repeal Obamacare? And follow up, are you willing to work for a complete repeal and dismissal of the entire bill, law?
Two parts to that question, and my answer is yes on both parts. I do think that Mr. Romney will work to repeal Obamacare, and I will be fully supportive to repeal the entire piece of legislation. We need to start over. We have problems that we have to address, and we don't need to take this piece by piece. So we repeal it, we start over, and we make the right decisions with good legislation to address our nation's health care problems.
Thank you. Mr. Locke?
Yes, thank you. I do believe that when Romney gets elected, he will be able to get rid of the Obamacare legislation, and I do support that. I do not understand why the current Congress, in particular the House of Representatives, has voted on this measure for 33 times over the last 2 years. But I'm glad they were able to vote on it again just yesterday, and they again are for repealing it. and now it will go to, I'm sure it will be rushed to the state, to the Senate, where it will sit there until January. Thank you.
Thank you. Congressman.
Well, my opponents and I obviously agree that Obamacare needs to be repealed. My opponent, Mr. Locke, talking about the 32 votes that we've taken to repeal Obamacare really sounds like the Democratic talking points that you hear on CNN that ask us all week, well, you know, here you are, the 32nd time, wasting our time when you ought to really be working on trying to get people back to work and creating jobs. The truth of the matter is that of those 32 times, only twice now have we voted in the House of Representatives for a complete repeal of this bill. Many of those other times were to vote for tort reform, were to vote for eliminating the 2.3% tax on the medical equipment manufacturers, to repeal the Class Act, to get rid of IPAB, and individual pieces of that legislation that are so onerous. The answer to the question, though, in regard to President Romney, and will he repeal, he himself, as all of you know, and my colleagues do, I think, would agree when I make this point, he can't repeal the law himself, but he can indeed and will, as soon as he's inaugurated, grant waivers to all 50 states and territories of the onerous burdens of Obamacare and defund the program. And hopefully we will take back control of the United States Senate and can repeal with a simple majority in the Senate by the little smoke and mirrors game called reconciliation.
Thank you, sir. Thank all three of you for those great comments. Switching to another subject matter that is we see the clock ticking on the raising of the debt ceiling. And to the audience, what is your plan to stop the continual raising of the debt ceiling for the American people and this government? Starting with Mr. Locke first.
10 years, $10 trillion in additional debt. That's 10 million millions. The debt ceiling we need to get some income tax. We need more revenue generation, and we need to cut the budget. I have proposed an income tax rate on anyone greater than 2.5 million. I have proposed streamlining the tax code to allow us to invest in America and get deductions. In effect, when you invest in the system, you're going to get more stimulus in the system, which will in turn create more jobs in America, which will then create more income tax. The debt ceiling, we just need to bring back. If we were to just take the budget from 2008 and put that in play today, the pensions and the health care and so many pieces are just running rampant, and we need to slow down and put a finance man in this office to get the budget under control. And raising the debt ceiling time and time again is not working. Thank you.
Thank you. Congressman?
Well, Mr. Locke's numbers are pretty much spot on in regard to the amount of debt that has accumulated. Actually, since 1996, the last time before last year that we had a vote on a balanced budget amendment in the United States Congress, and as you remember, 1996, it failed by one vote, regrettably. There were many members of Congress at that time, particularly on the Democratic side of the aisle, that said, well, you know, we really don't need Congress or mature men and women who have good judgment and they can take care of the affairs, the fiscal affairs of the nation. In the time since 1996, when that balanced budget amendment failed by one vote, we've increased the debt by $9 trillion with a T. $9 trillion. So much for the responsibility, fiscal responsibility of the Congress. I think we absolutely have to have a balanced budget amendment. That's why I insisted on passage of a balanced budget amendment last year, about a year ago this time, in fact, before I would vote to increase the debt ceiling 1 dime. And I'll tell you another thing as I sit here today. This member of Congress will not vote to increase the debt ceiling until every single appropriation bill is passed in a fiscal year. How in the world does Congress know how much money they need to borrow if they haven't yet decided how much money they're going to spend?
Time. Thank you, sir. Mr.
Opitz.
Opitz, I'm sorry. Please excuse me.
That's quite all right. We do need a balanced budget amendment, and we need responsible members of the House and the Senate to stop raising the debt ceiling when we do not have money to pay for it. My opponent, Mr. Gingrich, voted to raise the debt ceiling. He says that he did not, but he did. And it's disingenuous for him to criticize those who voted to raise the debt ceiling when he did so himself. So we have to realize and recognize what the people in Congress are doing. We have seen so many times that they vote one way up there, and they come down here and they present another face to us. And that's one of the reasons that we are in the situation that we are in. We have to hold the people in Congress and all elected offices accountable, including me, when I go to Congress. So I ask for your participation, because you, the people, are the government. You elect those who administer the government and hire the bureaucrats to run it. But the responsibility gets down to we, the citizens. And that's important that we understand the facts and the truth of it. Thank you.
Congressman Gingrich, you get 30 seconds to rebut.
Melvin, thank you. The gentleman referenced me and, in fact, called me two-faced. You know, I've represented this county, this great county of Bartow, for almost 10 years now. And I think if anything, people understand that Phil Gingrich is not two-faced. Phil Gingrich is honest. His yeses are yes, and his no's are no's. And I will continue to represent you in that way, and I think you trust that I will.
Thank you so much. Continue. You want to respond to that? 30 seconds.
Sure. Dr. Gingrich, we're very pleased with what you have done for us for a number of years, but you do support cut and cap, and that indeed is what raised the debt limit. So I don't know if you knew, but when you supported the cut and cap, that was indeed giving President Obama the right to raise the debt limit.
The congressman get to rebut.
My opponents gave me a lot of opportunity to grab the mic. I guess I should thank him for that. He said I voted for cut and cap, but what he failed to include was balance. The most important part of cut, cap, and balance is balance the budget, and that indeed would solve the problem. It's the only way. I mean, 49 out of 50 states, indeed, including our great state of Georgia, have a balanced budget amendment language in the Constitution. They have to balance that budget each and every year.
Thank you. We got a couple more questions. We need to move on that subject matter. We need to move on. Thank you so much.
But the cut and cap did indeed raise the debt limit, did it not?
I think the congressman has stated his position on that, and we're going to move on to the next question. Okay? In regards to that, and this has been a subject matter that's out there, can you share with the audience your position on the fair tax proposal?
I strongly support the fair tax proposal, and I have for a number of years. I'm not Johnny-come-lately to this position. What the fair tax will do is, we all know that corporations do not pay taxes. What they do is they pass their overhead on to the consumers. We have the highest corporate tax in the world at 39%. What the fair tax would do is reduce that and make our exports considerably less expensive. And that's important for our economic development, it's important for our manufacturing, it's important for our balanced budget. We have to do something. The tax code that we have right now is cumbersome. It doesn't work. It provides loopholes. It provides a lot of work for the lobbyists. And Congress is not doing anything about it. They've not seriously approached this to do something about it. And I will be a strong voice on supporting the fair tax. And that will help re-energize America, the 11th District in Bartow County, to become a manufacturing superpower in the world as we have in the past, and there's no reason we can't do it in the future. It just takes the will and the effort of those sitting in Congress. Thank you.
Thank you. And I was going to begin down here, but you got to make before I can get there, but we're going to come on back down. That's okay. Mr. Lott.
Yes, thank you. I do not support the fair tax. I believe in a progressive income tax system. When a worker earns $100,000 a year, he spends $100,000 a year on his family. When a worker earns $2.5 million a year, he will not spend all his money, and he effectively will pay a lesser income tax. So the fair tax is really fair to the person that is earning a lot more money. So when he's banking his money, he will effectively be paying as low as a 10% income tax. I've seen the fair tax come through at 23%. Now, if you're earning 100, if you're earning 200, if you're earning 150, you're spending all your money, and that is the worker that is actually stimulating the economy. But the person that is making in excess of X, he is paying a lesser tax, and that is not what we support. That is not what I support, and that is a progressive income tax system where the more you make, the more you can contribute to society. Thank you.
Congressman.
Well, I agree with one of them, and I disagree with one of them. I agree with Mr. Opitz in regard to the fair tax. My colleague John Linda, who retired now after 18 years of great service in the Congress, as all of you know, was the champion of the fair tax. He, along with Neil Wartz, wrote the fair tax book. And my colleague, my opponent, in fact, is right. Congress has not given this sufficient attention. When I was first elected, the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee was a Republican. And he only paid lip service to John and his efforts to get a fair tax passed. And of course, the companion elimination of the Internal Revenue Service, the 16th Amendment. The thing about the fair tax, of course, is I think most of you understand that it's a consumption tax. And so many people in our society, black market if you want to call it that get paid under the table, that get paid in cash, or paying no taxes. But if there was not an income tax, and there was a consumption tax, with a refund, a prebate to people for the sales tax on the essentials of cost of living to support their family, would be given back to them every month. I think it's a great system. It would work. We just need to have the will and the determination to get it done.
Thank you, Congressman. We're running up on our time. We have...
Yeah. The refund.
Very quickly, sir.
Very quickly. The refund. This is like the earned income credit that we currently get, or certain low-income earners currently get back on their when they file their income tax, and actually as a prepay. Give me my check has to stop. So this fair tax, I'm getting a check from the government every month. Stop it. We do not need to get a check anymore. This is an entitlement program, and it needs to end. The talk of it needs to end. You can shift into a fair tax over what period of time? Not over the next 4 years, where I'm talking about put government jobs on the table through implementation of the depreciation, through the implementation of passive activity losses.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
we need to move on. This is a very hot topic here, and I know we could debate it all night long. So we do have a couple of more questions.
To rebut this gentleman, since
30 seconds.
The fair tax does not tax production. It taxes consumption. It gets to the underground economy. It is the way that we need to do it. That progressive, Woodrow Wilson put the progressive tax in support of socialistic efforts. But this gets right down to our success. If we don't have a fair tax, we will never get out of this malaise that we're in.
One comment. Woodrow Wilson, wasn't he president during the Depression? I mean, come on. You know, that's the best we got. No.
Thank you. We're going to move on. Thank you, sir. Want to go to the tax base again there. Next question is going to be, oh, whoa. Boy, this is going to be a good one. Okay. Are you willing, if you're re-elected or elected, to consider replacing John Boehner as Speaker of the House and not with anyone whose initials are NP? I think we know Nancy Pelosi.
All right, I'll take that one first. Absolutely no NP. You can write that down for sure. And of course, the way we prevent that is to maintain control of the House of Representatives. I feel confident about that, not overconfident, but confident. We need to work hard. We need to grow our majority. We don't need to take anything for granted. So I think it will still be a Republican House of Representatives by a fairly wide majority. So that brings up the question, of course, of leadership of the House of Representatives. I have served under Speaker Denny Hastert. I have suffered under Speaker NP, and now I'm serving under the leadership of Speaker John Boehner and Leader Eric Cantor. I do believe that we have a good, strong leadership in the House. Look, no one's perfect. No one's perfect. There are days that I would like to wring John Boehner's neck. There are days that he'd like to wring my neck. I don't vote with him, rubber stamp him. I try to listen, I try to reason, but when he wanted me to support the debt ceiling and there was no balanced budget amendment as part of the deal, I couldn't do that. I could not do that. And I think John understood that. And there were no reprisals, no threats. He didn't kick me off the Energy and Commerce Committee or take away anything from me. So he's a good guy. He's very likable. I think if he's got a fault, is that he tries too hard to be so likable. There are times when he could be tougher, but look, I've seen him as tough as nails. So I like our leadership. I have no intention of leading a coup or supporting a coup. I think we've got great leadership in the House of Representatives.
Thank you, Mr. Lott.
Yes, thank you. I haven't met John Boehner. I believe that his weakness is some of the people around him. And I believe a finance man in the House from the 11th will bring real results. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would look to see who else is running against John Boehner. I think new leadership in the House is something that we need to explore because we can't keep doing the same things over and over again and expecting different results. That's a quote from Einstein. And it's true. He has not been a strong leader. He may be a likable guy, but that's not why he was elected to be the leader, the Speaker of the House. He has let this president buffalo him at every single turn and take advantage of him and this House and the responsibilities that he has to the citizens of America. And if he won't stand up, at least I will. I will stand up and speak from the well of the House on what we need to do and help form leadership there that will be responsible and responsive to the citizens of America.
Thank you so much. Now we're going to proceed with our 1-minute closing remarks as we end this round of debate with this group of candidates here, beginning on my far left over there. Mr. Opitz.
Make no mistake, I can't do this job myself, but I can be a spark. and I'll be a burr under the saddle, and I'll add my voice to a growing chorus to reestablish America as a global industrial power. We have the best educated workforce in the world with the world's strongest work ethic, and we can do it. This congressional race is not a high school popularity contest. It's a contest based on issues. So it is important that we all become knowledgeable of the issues, because we are no longer on automatic pilot, and the people in Washington do not seem to understand and care. Ours is a grassroots campaign, and we have a growing network of dedicated Republicans, Tea Party members, and independent voters who have felt their voices have not been heard. I ask for your vote and your support. opitsforcongress.org. Please go to my website, see what my positions are, and because I'm running, you now have a choice. Make me earn your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Law.
Yes, thank you. Day in and day out, for almost 30 years, I have advised and consulted medium to small businesses, as well as consulted and advised individuals like yourself on how to be fiscally responsible. I have a complete understanding of how decisions in Washington affect everyday Americans. I am number 4 of 11 siblings. I am a native of Atlanta. My wife is a Georgia peach. I have learned at a young age on how to negotiate settlements. So what I bring to the table is fresh ideas, a track record, and knowledge to make a difference. When you have a budget problem, you seek a finance problem. I am William Lobb, and I am the best choice for the congressional seat on July 31st. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman.
LLOP for Congress. Google it. Thank you.
Thank you. Congressman Gingrey.
Melvin, thank you again for moderating. Thank you to the Bartow County Republican Party, and thank all of you for being here tonight to listen to the candidates in all the races. Look, the most important thing in this election is which one of the three of us has the ability, the wisdom, the judgment, the experience to do the right things in Congress to best represent Bartow County and the 11th Congressional District, to get people back to work, to have an understanding of what we need to do in regard to health care, to truly bring down the cost of health insurance. Obamacare, of course, failed miserably, and is probably going to cost this country over the next 10 years an additional $2.7 trillion in the process. I want to just simply say that when I think about why I am running for re-election, it's when somebody comes up to me and says, Congressman, this is my 18-year-old daughter. You delivered her, and now she's voting for you. Or somebody comes up to me at church and says, Congressman, I just want to let you know that we're praying for you, and we're praying for you and your colleagues to continue to do the right thing. That gives me the spirit, the determination, the God-giving courage to continue to represent you. I ask you for your support to re-elect me. Vote for me on July the 31st and, of course, on November the 6th. Thank you all, and good night.
Let's give all these gentlemen a round of applause for thoughtful responses to the questions presented tonight. Thank you all so much, and best of luck to each one of you. Now we're going to move in.